did send you a report, I got it from Chessa, and I sent you the documentation for action item, but it's all utility committee related. I'd be happy to answer any questions now or later about any of the updates in public works.
No question, Ms. Hunt? You have a question for us?
Street project. It's a contractor. Well, what I can tell you about the contractor is he's got a lot of work. Obviously, he would be here so he can collect the retainings that are holding out. We've got $784,000, almost $600 worth of money that you can't get to until 45 days after you accept the project. We're not there yet. We probably will bring it to you, the resolution of termination at your October meeting. If you do it then, he's got 45 days to wait to collect that. So he's got a lot of reasons to come back, and if he's not coming back, apparently he's got more money tied up somewhere else. I don't know. But this is a lot of leverage. I wouldn't be concerned, other than I know you've taken comments from constituents that are fearful they won't come back. They'll come back. Okay. And if they don't, I think we have what we need to get somebody else to do it if they want to.
Anybody else? Sam?
Sorry, I must have missed that last one. Were you asking about like when they're cleaning up the stuff? Because they still got stuff with some of the houses.
Yeah, what I was referring to is the entire punch list, which includes cleanup. There are additional asphalt overlays, a couple of scaled out streets that come into everything.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cleanup is definitely on the list.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Anybody else with any questions? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I have no other items, so I will recess.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, Utility Committee, Alderman Martin is not here. He did call this afternoon and is still suffering with his back. And he asked that I extend his apologies for not being here. Alderwoman Marks.
At this time, I'd like to open the Utility Committee. We do have a quorum, and we will hear the reports, beginning with Tim Prater on wastewater superintendent.
Good afternoon. During the month of August, we had 224 Louisiana one-call locate requests. There were 11 work orders filed. During the month, we removed a pump at the Oddfellows pump station. It was overheating. We pulled it up, took it apart. It was clogged with shoplifting material. Let me say it like that. After it was undone, we checked it. It was back in service. We don't have issues there. Last month, I reported that we had to go down into the Hockaday pump station, which is by the hospital. That's been repaired. There's a divot down at the bottom that the pump fell over, so that's been repaired. It's in service. We removed a pump out of the truck stop casino yesterday. We unstopped it, but that pump is burned. It's overheating. It's not a time when it's going to burn out. We are in the process of ordering one to replace it. It's a grinder pump. It's been in there since October of 2002. So I think we've got our life that pump. So it would cost more to have it repaired than buy a new. We've been recirculating the pond. We haven't had a discharge since August 16th because of dry conditions. So we need some rain. We noticed, and just to make you aware, there is a crack on the top of the levee because of the dry condition. It's not going to collapse or anything like that. We are monitoring it. We made engineers aware of it. Survey guy's been out there, so we are monitoring that on a weekly basis. We don't see anything that's going to happen, to be alarmed about. Other than that, I want to thank our guys that are working for us, out at the wastewater. We're down, 3 guys, so we're, ones that are there are picking up slack. You know, we, as an employee prior, I think if you schedule your vacation, you're entitled to that vacation, especially if you make plans to go out of town. So we kind of accommodate that. We just kind of pick up their load to help us along the way. But other than that, we appreciate them. That's all I really have. If anybody has any questions?
Thank you, Tim, that was a great report. I know you're pushing through all this dry weather and everything with a good team, and we appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions, Mr. Prater? Anyone? Okay, we'll move, thanks. We'll move to the city engineer, Tim Bailey.
Thank you, Sandy. If you look at page 11 of my utility committee report, that's my first action item. It's on your committee agenda as action item number 1. And this is the common meter replacement project. Contractor is 2 Liter Services. You actually moved to terminate the contract at your July meeting. The 45-day meeting period expired since then, and so now it's in order to approve partial payment estimate number 6 to 2 Liter Services for that project to release the labor and material being retainage in the amount of $47,598.72. It's 47598.72, and that's the retainage on the conduit replacement at the main pump station project.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Okay, next.
And what's good about that is nobody has to say the word conduit anymore.
Brian, I just learned that.
Or 2 years.
Or two,
Facultative vote, would you have to know that?
yeah, you have to know facultative, you have to keep that in your lexicon. All right, page 13 is the item, the LCDBG fiscal year 2020-21 project. That is for citywide sanitary services and repair. The action is shown on page 14. And that's on your agenda as action item number 2. We're requesting that you consider change order number 2, and that's for a time extension of 90 calendar days. I'll explain that. And also to add to the contract provision that is regulatory. It was called upon us to do this at a recent LCDBG monitoring visit. It's called Minority Participation Goal. If you have seen what was sent to you this afternoon, the change order looks like this. And LCDBG document that we need to include looks like this. Basically, that's just a house cleaning that the block grant.
In the emails, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So I would ask you to consider approving contract change order number 2 for the rehabilitation of the sewage collection system project to add 90 calendar days. The reason that we're adding that many calendar days is so that we can spend all the grant money. There are more things to be done, which was revealed after the contractor left town from what he was doing at the time. We called him back in, expect him back in about 2 or 3 weeks, and he's going to take care of other things in the contract that were revealed by smoke testing and so forth, and he needs more time to do it. So we believe that's a reasonable amount of time to finish the project and again spend all of the $1.8 million of grant money.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion to approve? So moved. Second? Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? Anyone? Anyone? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passed to approve.
That concludes my action items.
Okay. Is there any further discussion for the utility committee? Anyone? If not, I think we're finished here, and I rest.
Thank you, ma'am. Recreation, Alderman Ashby.
Recreation Committee opens, we have a quorum. Under our reports, I would call Recreation Director Peter Kirsch, who will be me today. So Peter's report says that flag football, soccer practice has begun and games will start on September 18th. All games will be played Monday through Thursday nights at the complex. Adult basketball began play last week at the Martin Luther King, and games will be played until October 19th. We are currently talking with a group to bring back adult co-ed softball to the complex. Games will begin early November and wrap up right before Christmas. We have 8 teams that are currently interested. High school fall baseball leagues will begin this weekend at Miller Stadium. We will have games on Saturdays and Sundays until the end of October. Restroom work continues at the complex, and work is scheduled to be finished this month. Anybody has any questions? Thank y'all for not asking any. Next, Mr. Jim Mayer.
Chuck, I don't have anything to add, but I think you have an action
We
item.
do.
I have nothing to add.
Okay, under action items, we want to approve an partial payment number 5 to LK Bro and Associates in the amount of $157,148.90 for the new restroom / concession and restroom renovations at the Tony Robichaud Complex. High school, the project number 22-.038, and I so move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, and that is it for the Recreation Committee. We recess.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, zoning annexation, Alderman Reggie.
Thank you. I do have a quorum. Under reports, we'll start with Mr. Mayor.
I have nothing by way of action.
All right. Under action items, I have none, and under discussion items, I have none. So if there's anything else, I will recess.
Thank you, sir. Public safety, Mr. Cord, if we could amend, sorry, mercy, if we could, I can't see you at this paper at the same time. If we could amend your agenda to include the Rice Festival's Rice and Gravy Cook-Off slated for September 23rd on the grounds of the Wells Fargo building. They are applying for a special events permit for that event for their beer sales. So that's got to go through council. And I have the letter here that they need to be able to get that, so we just got to pass that through council. So if you could amend your agenda under action items to include the 4th annual Rice and Gravy Cook-Off at Wells Fargo special events permit.
September 23rd.
September 23rd, that is correct.
It's, I so move.
Second.
Next month, the second.
Yeah.
All,
Exactly.
you need to ask them all to,
Yes.
a roll call for that.
And a roll call vote.
Alderman Core,
Yes.
Alderman Wilrich,
Yes.
Alderman Reggie,
Yes.
Alderman Ashby,
Yes.
Alderman Dorey.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Okay, we'll begin with, we have a quorum present, and we'll hear reports from Chief of Police, Troy.
In the month of August, my department answered 900 calls. We had a total citations for the month of August is 305. 193 of that being the traffic enforcement detail, and 88 traffic citations while on patrol, and 24 criminal.
Chief, how's the total compared to last month? You remember what we had last month as far as the total citations?
Yeah, I think we had 400 something last month, and this time it's 300 something. It varies depending on how they work it, and the shifts are short. Is there more room for traffic enforcement? You know, if the shifts are short, sometimes you feel in there and not work at all. So you will see a little shift in numbers, but they've been pretty proactive over the last month. You know, I know this started on this week alone, we already issued over 100 citations in the school and everything. Definitely enforcing school zones. Reminder, please slow down when school's going on, because tickets are expensive. But we did see an uptick, so like I said, just over the last 5 days, they issued over 100 citations. They definitely busy.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief? Alderman Marks?
There was a deceased body found near the road. Was that, were they ever identified?
That was outside the city.
That was outside the city. Thanks. Has been.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, Chief. Okay, we'll move to Fire Chief Louis Lopello.
Good afternoon. So, the run report you'll have, we ran 42 calls in the month of August, for which 6 was hazardous conditions, 16 was EMS and rescue, 33 false alarms, 10 fires, 3 good intent calls, 1 service call, 2 overheating or overpressure, and a special incidents call. If you look, our times went up to 2 minutes and 53 seconds. But on call number 23225, we had a 16-minute and 38-second ETA response. That's going to be for an extrication in Lions Point, south of town. So if you take that one out, I am times improved big time. If you take that out, our times will go from 2 minutes 53 seconds to 2 minutes 12 seconds.
That's excellent, Chief.
So any questions on this?
Yes, Alderman Marsh wanted to know if the Crowley Fire Department assisted with the forest fire in,
So I think it was 2 weeks ago. Myself, driver Olivia Richard, firefighter Shayden Broussard, and firefighter Michael Pousson went. And we went in the afternoon into the night, and we worked about 6.5 hours and we came back. So yes, we did. Any questions on this? So, I don't know if it was last month or the month before, we brought this policy change, or a new addition to the fire department's policies, dealing with comp time and travel time. I want to make sure it's on the agenda for the council meeting, so we can vote on it.
Yeah, just as a reminder, you all did get a copy, well, you got another copy tonight. But to give y'all time to look at it, we kind of forgot about it, honestly. And so it'll be on the agenda for next week for the council meeting.
And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to call me and I can explain why this policy has to come up. So, I talked to the mayor today. We 3 short as of today. I talked to the mayor during lunch. I'm gonna hire an ex-employee back. And then I'm gonna also hire a new kid that we got sent to the academy. So now, if both pass the drug test and the physical and all the other tests that have to be done for employment, we'll be 1 short. So I'm still trying to find that person, you know. So if you know somebody wants the best job in the world, tell them, it's gonna be a problem, you know. Sorry, Charles. Any questions? Thank you all.
Just FYI, the ex-employee is someone who resigned for more money at another job, and he's actually coming back. So he wasn't somebody that was let go by the city. So it's actually an asset to have it back in our department, in our city.
Good news, good news. Thank you, Chief. Okay, we'll move to City Inspector Tony Duhan, and he's not present, but he did email me his report, which I'll review. Animal control quantity 50 calls for dogs, 22 calls for cats, 5 calls for dead animals, 1 call per animal bite, 2 calls for animal cruelty, and 12 calls for animal traps. Total number of animals in shelter, 11 cats and 11 dogs, 5 cats were spayed and neutered, code enforcement violations, 1 junk vehicle, 1 unpermitted sign, 8 tall grass, and 16 uninhabitable structure violations. 13 properties cut for tall grass by the city, flood management, 8 verifications of flood zone and base flood elevations. On the permitting, new construction 3, accessory 22 electrical, 3 accessory, 22 electrical, 7 gas and 6 repair, 8 demos with addresses of 165 Oddfellows Road, 702 West 10th Street, 1120 North Avenue L, 1546 North Avenue H, 226 Northern Avenue, 124 Dronette Street, 127 Dronette Street, and 1226 North Avenue J. Under planning and zoning, 1 subdivide in process, 5 reviews of future construction, and 1 zone verification. Stormwater monthly inspections, east and west of Bayou Blanc, east and west of Center Ditch, and north, east, and west of North Ditch. Contact us if you have further information. If further information is needed, respectfully, Tony Duhan, City Inspector. Okay, we move to action items. Mayor, under action item 1, to approve the beer and liquor permit. The permit looks like it's for a beer permit. I don't see if it is liquor too.
So I'll tell you, well, yeah, I don't know why that copy looks like that. This is for 322 Southeastern. A few years ago, they approved that business or that building to be split into 2 addresses. It's no secret why. One side's supposed to be a restaurant, the other side is supposed to be a bar. However, they have a liquor license for both sides, which allows them to have 3 poker machines on each side, which allows them to have a total of 6 poker machines in the building, because it's the same owner for both sides. They let their liquor license go, or beer and or liquor, go for the restaurant side, and found out that they could not keep their poker machines if they didn't have a beer and liquor license. So they want to, get their beer and liquor license again. That's the honest truth of the situation. And so that's why they're doing it again. I don't, that's not it's not what's in the newspaper, that's not what's being advertised, but that's what is,
No, sure, I just want to make
What's going
sure
on?
that this is for a beer and liquor, not just beer.
yeah, it should be beer, like, I don't know why this copy looks like that. There's something that smudged on it that, we can't see if there's a check on the, do you remember if it's beer and liquor? Okay. We'll check it to make sure and have it clarified from Monday's meeting.
Okay, all right. Congress, they haven't been selling any alcohol there for the
Yeah,
first of the
correct.
year.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, the bar is right next door. I don't know that they are interested in selling any alcohol on the restaurant side. They're just interested in the poker machines.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve this application for consideration by the full council regarding the canteen of Crowley, which is the south half of the building located at 322 Southeast Avenue.
So moved.
Second, discussion? We have all in favor, and Alderman Reggie will abstain.
Assistant abstain, yes.
Thank you. All right, and number two, regarding the fourth annual Rice Festival Rice and Gravy Cook-Off, set for September 23rd on the grounds of the Wells Fargo facility. And I so move to, is that a co-sponsor for that event?
Yes, that it would also, it's also co-sponsor for it, but, this particular is, yes.
So,
Right, and for them to be able to, get the, special events permit. Goodness, I couldn't get that out.
Got all that?
Yeah.
All right, and I so move to recommend that to the full council for consideration. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second? Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Under discussion items, we have to discuss the official date and time for Halloween, trick or treating for the children. Mayor has brought this to your attention, and I'd just like to propose that we keep Halloween on October 31st and have the times from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. With our chief's approval.
You good with that, Chief?
Yeah, we fine with it.
So it'll be from 6 to 8 on October 31st.
Sounds good.
It's a discussion item, we'll have to particularly act.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a decision by the police chief anyway, that's not a council decision.
Sure, but Mayor, I appreciate
Yes,
you bringing the public
absolutely.
that way, Mr. Mandy can.
And everybody knows.
Yes. All right, any other items to come before the Public Safety Committee?
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question. I noticed today, let's see. I noticed today that there is a new drop-off and pickup route for Crowley Kindergarten. It's off of the main street, and it's on a through street, Avenue E. I was wondering if the school got permission from the police department to use that route.
Yeah, we talked to them. It's actually more safer to go there than for the kids to stay.
And I understand that, but it's a through street. Couldn't you use like 10th Street? Those are stop signs, and it's off of, it's a through street. We have very few through streets in Crowley.
That's the plan that they proposed that they wanted to implement.
Yeah.
So I didn't know.
Okay, I was
It
just,
is a through street, but it's.
yeah, and today I got stopped twice, like 3 or 4 blocks back, and you have to go all around to avoid it, you know? So I was just curious if they had gotten your
Yeah,
permission.
they did.
We'll
Yeah,
question that.
They did. Yeah,
Okay.
they did. Get in touch with me.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
let me know to go look to see if there was
Right.
any
Yeah,
backup or
right.
stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, talk about the school zones a little more. I talked to you about it. Now, we got a 40-day school week, so now we're starting earlier and getting off later. And our school zones are set 7 to 9, 2 to 4. So I don't know if you talk with the school board or whatever, because a lot of times they're getting out at 3:45, so you're not covering the area to protect the kids. So I was wondering if the school board made any decisions on that, and then I've noticed, talking about the kindergarten, the school zones on Parkinson Avenue. Now you're picking up on 10th Street, so why do we still need a school zone enforced on Parkinson Avenue instead of on 10th Street? That'd be my next question.
May have to add a school zone on 10th Street.
Yeah.
School zones are usually,
It's all the way around.
around the school.
And your signs are not all the way around the school, it's only on the front side mainly.
And one thing I've learned since January is the school board, is actually the ones who does the school zone signs. Also, the school zone signs on Parkinson, is often forgotten that it's a state highway, so that's the state department that deals with the signs on the state highway. We can definitely meet with the school board and see if there's any plans to change the school zone times. And I mean, that may be something that we can do ourselves here in the city, change the school zone times if we,
It's something to consider.
if it's something that we need to do.
Yeah, because I usually pass on Parkinson.
Yeah, it's definitely something we can get together on.
I've been noticing the sign, the flashing lights, and last day or two, I noticed they're not flashing anymore at 2:30, so I'm not sure why not there.
So how it goes is, the one on Parkinson, it goes in, you actually follow the law that the signs state. So when flashing in the school zone, they turn them on at 6:40 a.m., they go off at 8:40 a.m., the one on Parkinson. 2:40 p.m. and then 4:40 p.m. The other ones are between 7 and 9 and 2 and 4. And that's what's on the signs. They did change the times, and I've contacted them over. In fact, I actually contacted them to see about, I'd like to get flashing lights by all the schools. And, I asked him who was in charge of that, and they are. He's looking for some money to try to do some of the crowd.
Sure.
So, especially on Northern.
So the school zone times on Parkinson for kindergarten have already been changed because the signs state when flashing.
Yes.
And they have those signs set to flash at different times.
Yes.
But the rest of the school zones throughout the city are still Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. and 2 to 4 p.m.
Yes, and that's what's marked on the sign.
Okay. We'll get,
It goes by what's marked on the sign.
right. Chief seems to be working with the school board already on that, so we'll keep an eye on it.
And I just want to make
Chris, thank you.
one comment that the private school is gonna have a different time than the public school. So it's.
Yes.
Well, all of them are marked between, 6 to 9, or 7 to 9, and,
Yeah, but
just the one on Parkinson is.
But what Brad's saying is, the school zone times will have to change for public schools because they go to school earlier and get out later now. But
So I asked that question.
we have to also keep in mind, the private school times are not gonna change, and they still need Monday through Friday. So we have to be mindful for that when we're looking at rent.
Yeah, and even though they changed at different times, they felt it was, to keep them at those same times. Even, it doesn't have to be like an hour early or an hour and a half, as long as it's within everybody leaving the school, is how they look at it, as long as that time's within everybody going.
Thank you.
Right, but we don't have one flashing sign on parks.
Yeah, the school pays for that, it's, you know, because, I was gonna look at trying to get some grant money for it or
Okay.
something, but it comes from the school. And, he did get some money in, but he has all the schools to look at, you know, and I asked him if he'd look at ours kind of close, you know.
Right, and that'll be on the public schools. We can,
Correct.
if we go to-
I did notice one problem with one of the signs that I need to get the schools on, said north side. Currently, right now, it is improperly marked, it needs to be 200 feet away from the property. And it looks like when they added the gym on, they never moved the sign forward, so that sign needs to be moved up.
Chief, let's meet on that, because that's private schools, the school board isn't gonna deal with that.
Right.
That's for us, the city's gonna have to deal with that. And what I'd like to see, if you notice, the school zone in front of Notre Dame, starts before the school, and then it ends after the school, and then it starts again before St. Michael's on Eastern. And so, what I'd like to see is the school zone begin, south of Notre Dame on Eastern, continue all the way to Northern, and east and west past, North Side and St. Michael's. Make it all one school
The
zone.
law
instead of
states it
breaking
has to be 200 feet.
At least 200 feet, right?
I think so.
At least 200 feet. So we can be more.
Possible. I'd have to reread it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's at least 200 feet. So let's visit on that. Let's look at that. That's kind of confusing for motorists. You speed up a little bit, then you gotta slow down again. It's a little confusing. So we'll look at that one. That needs to be visited.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other items come before the committee? The committee recesses.
Thank you, sir. Public buildings, Alderman Wilrich.
Public buildings committee, we had a quorum on the action items to allow the chamber to use the Enterprise Center parking lot for the annual gumbo cook-off slated October 28th. Motion carried and I so move. We got a second, all in favor? Dave, you have the same right? Motion carried. On the discussion item, there was none. So public buildings recess.
Mr. Byron, just and the rest of the council people, just an update, the assist agency has moved out of the Enterprise Center. I went by today, make sure that lights were not left on and the air conditioners not set to comfortable, so that we can cut down on some of the electricity there until the Louisiana workforce moves out. It's my understanding that they are currently working with a property owner to move into a building nearby. And that should happen somewhere around the 11th of this month, I believe it is. So Louisiana Workforce and Smile will also be moving out. This October 28th date may be the last event at the Enterprise Center, as it's called, before we start doing some demolition on it. My expectations, and I spoke with an architect today. The first architect I spoke with, because this is going through facility planning and control, the first architect I spoke with, his proposal came back with 21% of fees, and facility planning and control only allows at this time, and it's a calculator I don't know how to use, but at this time it's only about 7.6%. So we're not going to be able to use that architect. I spoke with another one today, and he's sending his proposal, and we will move forward with that. I'm expecting to try, I need to start contacting some people to see if anybody's interested in demolition of the building for maybe some of the lumber and materials and stuff. I wouldn't expect that to happen until probably the end of the year. I wanna make sure the Rice Festival's gone and gumbo cook-off and stuff. We don't want any kind of construction site there during those events. But what else I'm expecting is to begin on the inside. There's lots of fixtures and doors and different things that are still valuable in that building that I believe we could salvage and sell. So, once I find someone to demolish it, I want to work with them and try and, I guess, make as much money as we can off of the demolition of the building too. So, but I'll keep you all updated on those efforts as they progress.
Mayor, I just have one question about the pavilion on the
Yes.
architect. Do we ask for bids for that project? Or are we just shot?
No, I don't think, so I don't think it's legal for me to shop architects. I think the first architect that I contacted, his fees were too high, and because of time restraints, I did email him back and explain that to him. I doubt that he's gonna come down nearly 20%.
So we
So-
since is 7.6, is that our set fee?
Yes, yes. Facility planning and control, because this is capital outlay money, there are, and I don't have all the technical terms and explanations of that, but I can get you on the phone and we can talk to somebody who knows
Okay,
all those details and can explain it very, very easily.
that's great.
Because there's a bunch of formulas and it's really complicated. But because of time constraints, I did email the previous architect and I have not heard back from him yet, so I need to move forward so we can make things happen. Again, we have a time frame to be able to spend the money. So, thank you. Okay, insurance and personnel, Alderwoman Marks.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, again. The Insurance and Personnel Committee will open. We do have a quorum. We have no reports at this time. And no action items. Or is there any discussion at this time? I did have a question. I know that with the benefits fair, that new benefits would be taking place or rolling over at the 1st of September. Some of you may not have received your new cards, and I will be checking on that for the insurance renewal cards that are current. Any discussion? Any discussion? If there's no further discussion, the Insurance and Personnel Committee rests.
Thank you, ma'am. Community and Economic Development, Alderwoman Chesson.
Yes, and so that was, do we need to amend the agenda to add something regarding Kids' Day on Main Street?
I don't think so. That's a standing deal,
That's
that
what I,
Kids Day
that's what I thought.
with Main
Just making
Street,
sure.
yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. The Community and Economic Development Committee will come to order, and we do have a quorum. Briefly looking at some things that are going on, from the tourism director, the Crowley Jennings Invitational Golf Tournament was a success with close to 130 golfers enjoying the event on September 2nd and 3rd. There was a tournament social on Friday evening at the Rice Festival building. It was a very successful collaborative effort between the two cities, and we appreciate Tourism Director Valerie Myers and her volunteers for leading this event for the city of Crowley. If any of you were out there, it was beautiful weather for most of the weekend, and it was a very nice event. Crowley Main Street. Main Street staff, Amber Hargrave and Hank Capel, continue planning and soliciting sponsors for Kids Day on Main Street, which will be held on Saturday, September 23rd, the morning of the rice and gravy cook-off, so there will be a lot of people downtown.
Right, okay, I think the question is whether or not we need to co-sponsor that event. I don't think we need to, I mean, we absolutely can, co-sponsor that event. I don't know why we wouldn't automatically just support that event. It's a huge, huge turnout of many families, not only in our city, but throughout the parish and surrounding areas that come to our city for that event. It's a great day for families in our city. You know, we can offer to co-sponsor that event just as customary, I guess, if you want, we can do that.
Okay. Yes.
It's not,
Sandy?
it's not working.
Here.
In the past, the way it seems to be, we always co-sponsored, all that does, give them permission to have access to our law enforcement and so forth, keep the crowd under control. That was really all that was.
Sure.
You know.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm good with it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a formality, they always do.
Okay, so is there anything that we need to do? Does that need to be on the agenda for the meeting?
Let's, yeah, we can put that on the agenda of the council.
Sounds good. A Taste of Crowley will be held on Thursday, November 7th at the Grand Opera House of the South. I know that tickets will be available at the Vanilla Bean. Main Street staff and other local leaders will attend Destination Downtown, a 3-stage training session that will feature ideas from Main Street leaders from Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi next week. Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce. The Acadia Parish Candidate Forum will be held on Thursday, September 7th at 6 p.m. at the Grand Opera House of the South. The Acadia Quarterly Luncheon, Economic Development, a collaborative effort. Guest speaker, One Acadiana CEO Troy Wayman, is this Friday, September 8th at 11:30 at Bezos. Contact the Chamber for ticket information. Prosper Acadia is a series of classes for small businesses. Small Business 101, Thursday, September 14th, 8:30 at the Main Street patio. The first meeting of the Crowley Garden Club will be this Tuesday, September 12th. The West Crowley beautification continues to work in that area to beautify that, giving the Garden of the Month award every month. And the Historic District Committee is still researching signage to designate the West Crowley Historic and Cultural District. There are no action items. Are there any discussion items that anyone needs to bring up?
So just FYI, in reference to the Main Street and Destination Downtown next week, the official notice will be going out tomorrow evening with the agenda attached to it, but the council meeting next week will be moved to Monday evening instead of Wednesday evening to allow myself and council members to attend the Destination Downtown in Monroe, West Monroe. So just an early notice that we will move that meeting to Monday evening at 6 p.m. instead of Wednesday evening. So,
Thank you, Mayor.
so we can attend that. Great, it's great networking and lots of things for us to bring back home and help out in our own community. So anytime we can visit and meet with other cities, especially other cities our size, and get some ideas, it's very, very valuable.
I think seeing what other cities are doing is a huge motivator for us to come back and say, you know what, we can do that and we can do it better. So it's a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
So with that, if there are no other discussion items, the Community and Economic Development Committee will recess.
Thank you, Mel. Revenue and Finance, Alderman Lachele. We don't just, if you want to, amend your agenda to, add, Christie on there in discussion items, we can. I don't know that we have to have that on the agenda for her to speak, but, let's do that just for the heck of it. If you want to amend the agenda, the discussion items, and then Christie can give us an update on financials.
Thank you. Revenue Finance Committee convenes, we ask for an amendment of the agenda to include Christie Dunn, CPA and audit partner, to come before the body and give a discussion of the current financial situation of the city. Roll call?
Yeah, we can do that. Didi Lachele,
Yes.
Chuck Ashley,
Yes.
Brad Core,
Yes.
and Katie Shasson.
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor, please, second that, second.
It's a roll call. Everybody had to go.
Right.
Oh,
Did you have to second motion? Yeah, Katie did.
Katie.
Katie second.
We got it straightened out. Thank you.
Okay. All right. The committee has no, the quorum of president. The committee has no reports. We have no action items. And we have the one discussion item. This is Christie Dunn, CPA and audit partner with Wright Moore, Hart, Dupree, and Hutchinson LLC, main office locations in Lafayette.
And she's not an audit partner. She is a CPA. Different audit firm. Christie, you have the floor, ma'am. Push the button for your microphone to be on.
We got it?
Good.
All right, each of you got the audit report from your audit firm. As he said, I am not your audit firm. They cannot make it tonight, so I agreed to discuss it anyhow. This is your audit report for August 31st, 2022, which we've all long awaited getting that year behind us so we could start with what was the current year that ended last week. So the audit report is 100-something pages long. I'm not going to go over the financial piece of it. What I would like to do is focus on the findings that your audit firm reported. They start on page 127. So it starts with your internal control findings. For 2000, the first finding is 2000 financial records and reconciliations. And the condition was that the city of Crowley failed to adequately reconcile bank accounts, interfund transactions, and other subsidiary ledgers on a monthly basis, which resulted in numerous material journal entries being made. To quantify that for you, the audit firm made over 170 adjusting and reclassifying entries to correct the financial statements for 2022. That is what took them so long to get the audit finished. Then they go through the criteria, the cause and the effect, they go through the recommendation, and then management's corrective action plan. And management's corrective action plan is going to be similar for pretty much all of the findings I go through. And what that is that in January of 2023, a new administration took office and immediately hired an outside CPA firm that had extensive governmental experience to assist the city clerk and staff with performing bank reconciliations, other reconciliations, as well as training on how to do this task themselves. And once all of this is put in place, then we will get that reviewed by me rather than me actually doing the work. And we do also state, management did state that this is going to occur in the 23-24 fiscal year, which is the year you guys just started today, well, last week, sorry. The next page is your sales tax transfers. The condition was that the sales tax funds had large growing balances in the interfund receivables and payables, and that's due to the money not being moved correctly between those sales tax funds when it came in. So they've given us a schedule of what needs to be moved between the sales tax funds, and we're going to get that taken care of in the next couple of months once we know the cash positions in each of these funds. The third one is fixed asset management. The condition is that the city of Crowley did not adequately maintain records of additions and disposals of fixed assets on a regular basis. Again, on this one, it's just keeping track of your fixed assets. Your audit firm does maintain this for you on their depreciation schedule, but during the year that we are in now, we're gonna pass that out to the various department heads and do a full inventory to, what I call touch all your assets. Look at the tags, make sure they're tagged, dispose of things, just kind of get that organized. From a priority standpoint, though, that's not a high priority when you want to get the financial records straight versus touching fixed assets. The next one was policies and procedures for payroll. So during the test of payroll expenditures, it was noted that several pay increases were given, but there was a lack of supporting documentation maintained to support the authorization and approval of amounts of pay increases in personnel files. It was also noted that the city does not have controls or policies and procedures in place regarding the approval process for employee pay rates or approval or maintenance of pay schedules. Again, this is something that is a documentation issue, which we will work with human resources and payroll to make sure that those personnel files are properly documented going forward. 2022.5, inadequate segregation of duties. This one is in a lot of governments, and that is just because you don't have enough staff to properly segregate functions. What we're gonna do with me being in here, I actually serve as part of that internal control structure, so we're gonna look at, once we get the accounting straight, we'll look at everybody's job duties and try to put some mitigating controls in place to make sure that we can segregate what we need to segregate as much as possible. So those are your internal control findings. The next section I'm on, 131, are your compliance findings. So your compliance finding is that the first one is budget non-compliance, which this is expected, you're gonna probably have it again this year. It's that you failed to amend your budget so that you didn't have expenditures greater than 5% of your budget. And so for 2022, most of you weren't here. If you were, the financial records were not in a shape to where you could actually have amended a budget to fix this, based on the number of journal entries that were made. And then the next one is just a late report issuance. The audit report, you're in August, you're in, it's due April 30th, and it got filed August 27th, I think, with the legislative auditor. So they were well aware that you were gonna be late, but at the same time, you had to have a finding for that. So that's your 2022 audit report with your findings. Just to let you know where we stand for this year, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. This year, as of today, we have posted all the audit entries from 2022. Glenn and I have printed those trial balances. We're reconciling those, making sure your current accounting software matches your 2022 audit. As we're doing that, we're also going ahead and starting that bank rec process. I think I told you from day one that until you know what your cash balances are and that's your bank's balance, we can't do anything else with the financials. So it's a slow process. Your software has pretty much been compromised in that bank rec function, so we're having to do it by hand, which means using Excel, the general ledger, for those of you who understand the bank rec function there. The software evidently had to check the box, that you had to check the box if you wanted the transaction to post to the bank rec function. And so the box wasn't checked, there's no rhyme or reason as to when. So we can't use that function. So we're just gonna get in Excel and we're gonna start rolling. And I look forward to getting those finished, where we at least know where we stand with the banks. Then we'll look at your interfund stuff to make sure that the money's moving correctly between the funds like it's supposed to. I want to reassure you again that your day-to-day operations are functioning. They're collecting, they're posting those deposits, they're going to the bank, the bills are getting paid, they're being paid timely from what I can see. The overall accounting in the general ledger is what is not currently accurate enough to be able to give you guys financial statements. I know there were some questions about preparing a budget, and I told Chad this, and I'll share this with you now. It was my recommendation that you adopt last year's budget as this year's budget. There was no reason in the world to spend time trying to do a budget for 2023 when the 2023 records we know are not correct because 22 wasn't correct. So to try to go through them and decide what that budget was, it was just going to be, it was going to take a lot of time and you would have gotten nothing from it. I'd rather take the time to actually do the day-to-day stuff and get your books clean and then get you guys a good budget. Even if it's by department or by fund going forward, we can prioritize that and see what we can do. But that's kind of the approach that I have in my head of how we'll go through this. So y'all will slowly start seeing things. It'll be a little while still, but we are in the right place. All right, questions?
No question.
Of course
You
you
had
can.
mentioned, exactly, policy and procedures regarding payroll. You mentioned raises were given without proper approval, but.
I think it's without proper documentation. So normally in a government, if somebody's gonna get a pay increase, there's a form that the department head may put the employee's name, put what the pay increase is, they'll sign it, and then whoever that supervisor may, there's some processes there. And so when the audit firm comes in to look at payroll, they'll usually sample some of this and make sure that what is being paid in the payroll system is what's documented in their file.
Does that require council approval?
I don't know if that's your rules or not. I think as long as, from what I'm understanding, as long as the bucket of dollars is in the budget,
Right.
it's allowed to be moved between employees. So,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody?
Can you say what department that was in?
No, I did not do, I'm just reading the findings from the audit department, from the audit firm. I do not know what department it would have been in.
I can tell you that, prior to January, according to some of the employees, there was some salary increases, at City Hall and, Street Department for sure.
Okay, Glenn just-
There was nothing-
There was several departments,
Yeah,
yes.
there was nothing after January. This was prior to January that these salary increases were there. I have some open positions in the street department that I have not replaced because of that, because I don't know how much money we have because of that, so I know for sure the street department is one of them. Christie, I'll ask you here publicly, it was stated that now that the budget has been passed, that there may be no more sense of urgency to get these numbers done. Previous passing this budget and continuing going forward, I think it's important that the people know that not only myself, but also you have heard from me multiple times asking, when are we gonna see something different? When are we gonna get this done? How soon can we do this? But I know the clerk has probably gotten upset with me a few times for trying to push him along also. But just to be sure that everyone understands that the sense of urgency always has been and will continue going forward to be extremely high priority to get these numbers right. And passing the budget the way we did was only so that we could continue without having to go back to 50% of the budget and be able to move forward and not waste time and money creating a budget that wasn't going to be a good budget anyway, that we have to come back and amend anyway. So just so that everyone knows, and you know, coming from me, the sense of urgency has always been there and will continue until we can hand these men and women sitting at these tables and everyone out in the public a piece of paper that has correct numbers on it. So
Absolutely.
please don't slow down.
We're not slowing down. We're actually making great progress now that the audit's finished. Like I said, until you could close 2022, you didn't have beginning balances for 2023. And until then, we could reconcile all the cash in the world, but it didn't matter. So, but just understand, the first step, in a nutshell, I'll just give you the first step is to make sure all the banks are reconciled. Then the next step is to then go through every balance sheet account and make sure that those numbers are correct. If a receivable was there, was it collected? If a payable was there, was it paid? So that's gonna be that next process. Then we slowly look at coding. So that's gonna be, did office supplies get coded to repairs and maintenance? Or a capital expenditure get coded to
And
something?
there's a lot of that too, yes.
There is, but you've had the same people in the same positions for the last 12 months. And so you may have some errors, but they're gonna be consistent errors.
Right.
And those consistent errors are very easy to identify and fix. It's, in 2022, you had 2 and 3 hands, you had gaps when there was nobody here, you had people coming in that didn't understand government. I mean, that's what caused it. Y'all weren't the first ones, it's happened. You got an audit opinion last year, which is huge, because y'all were pretty close to a disclaimer there, where they were gonna tell you your records weren't unauditable.
Oh, yes,
I know they use the word a lot.
They sat with me
I spent a lot of
and-
weekends here making sure that didn't happen. Because you don't want to start getting into unauditable. To get out of that is just, it's hard. It takes about 3 years to get back out of that.
Now, one more, the big question that I keep getting asked is, how soon? How much more time do you think that we would be okay with saying by the end of the year, that by December, the end of 2023, not the fiscal year hopefully, but by the end of 2023, that we could be in a position that we could provide some numbers. Obviously, we're trying to move to the new software, which is going to be another mountain to climb. But obviously, we're trying to move to the new software in January.
Yes.
Which means we should have some good numbers.
You should have numbers that are good enough to move, but you will still run simultaneously for a little while. You need to move January 1st for payroll.
Sure.
You want to have that calendar year data in your payroll system, if not, all the data.
And I know the council and the public is anxious to get some numbers on a piece of paper.
Absolutely.
Believe it or not as anxious as I am, because I sign all those checks. And like I've told people, it's not a question whether or not the money's in the bank, we just don't know if it's in the right bank at this point. So, I keep telling them, it's getting closer, and it is, but I don't have an end date to give anybody.
Well, and what I would say is you and I can work on this, or we can all work on this and prioritize. If we have to do fund level financials first, like if it's priority for you to see where the general fund stands, then we'll focus on getting that general fund done first, and maybe that's the only thing you'll see. Or if you want to see general fund and sales tax, then we'll look at those. It may be that we have to decide which ones are more important, or which ones are just more that you guys need to make some long-term decisions. You may not care as much if the cemetery fund reconciles, or the LCDBG fund reconciles, and it's got $100 in the bank. Those kinds of things. So we can look at that. We've got some of these bank recs done. We knew that some of them did change from the draft audit, and so we've got 10 or 12 of those already done, but they're the smaller funds.
Sure.
Today we're making progress on the larger funds. So, as a nerdy accountant, I was excited today, and Glenn knows that. We were excited because we started putting trial balances and they matched the audit, and there's just a few things that don't, and we can identify them, and it's like, yes.
Well, yeah, I went upstairs this morning, you said, I've got a fund reconciled. And I'm like, just what?
I'm an accounting nerd, what can I say? It's exciting when you see progress, and but it's a deep hole, and I told Glenn that today, especially as, he's been here a year, and he's never known what a normal clerk's job is. He's been a year behind. And you can't individually catch up on something like that when you on a government staff and fix it all. You just can't. It's not going to happen. So that's what I'm here to work with him and to train and to get this all straight, is where I can come in after the fact and just review the financials, generate the financials, give you guys some high-level summaries, work on the budget, that kind of special projects.
Grade the test we take.
That's what I'm looking for, yes.
That's what we're looking for too.
So timeframe wise, I'm looking at my calendar, I'm trying to block off as many days as possible. I may do what I did for the audit, and that is have you let me in on a Saturday and just work all weekend. I get a lot done.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Can I ask a question?
Ms. Stringfellow.
Hey, Christie, thank you for coming.
I do have a question for Christie. I do. This is regarding the 4 retirement funds for employees.
Okay.
Have y'all got any news on how intact they might be?
I'm not even aware of funds for employees, that's not funds that y'all manage, is it?
It's in the report.
Well, we, I
Oh,
mean, it's,
municipal employee retirement?
Yeah.
No, that's the state retirement fund, so
Yeah, the
we
state-
don't manage, y'all don't manage.
Firemen.
the only thing we do is
Send lots of money.
take that money out of the check and send it to those retirement funds. And yeah, the fire chief can explain a little better of that because he serves on the firefighters retirement.
Okay,
board.
because it wasn't, when I was reading it, it did come up in the report.
Yes,
So I wanted to know.
They do, it's, the pension fund holds those funds for your retirees. It works very similar to social security, really, you pay in, and the city pays them, and they hold them when you retire, you hold them there. So, yeah, that's not you.
If anybody want a copy of FOS's audit, just ask. I'll get it, I'll be in Baton Rouge next week. Anybody wants a copy of our audit, I can give it to you.
I was just curious about the state of those funds, because we do have to put money into them, and has the money been put into them? Has it reflected?
Every
pay
month,
period.
they send a check from the city to FOS to cover the city's portion, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is 32-ish%. And then the city deducts money out of all the employees' checks. Fire, they deduct 10% for retirement, and then they send that check to FRS.
So if you're talking about the city's retirement, employee retirement fund, that's basically a pass-through account. That's just a pass-through account. Any retirement funds for any employee goes directly to the retirement systems. So either firefighter retirement, the municipal police officer retirement, or municipal employee retirement, the city judge's retirement, all those other retirements.
Okay, that was a clarification I needed. Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks. Christie, are there any penalties for the findings that we have? So there's no financial penalties. So what is the, why would a municipality want to correct all the mistakes they did? I'm just asking for.
If you continue to have these issues, the legislative auditor will just, they won't come in, no, they're not gonna come in. They're just gonna monitor you a little closer. But otherwise, no, your late audit reports, I hate to say it, but there's people that do that a lot. When you're late, you get on the non-compliance list, and that non-compliance list then raises your funding.
We haven't seen that before as LMAs, is there some municipalities that were not on the.
Fiscal administration,
Yes,
yes,
right,
that's that disclaimer, that's step one,
Okay.
yes,
And-
y'all are not doing it.
Okay, good. And one last thing, is there any way to streamline some of those accounts?
That's not the priority, but
But
that's
later.
in the plan. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We absolutely have
We're
to.
gonna streamline them, and then I'm gonna recommend that y'all don't have the savings account at one bank, and a checking account at a different bank, and another CD at another bank.
Yeah,
and,
so,
you know, I know you wanna spread it, and we can spread it a whole different way.
Yeah, probably half of the checks that I sign are from one bank to the other. To be able to take from this fund and give to this fund, but it's at a different bank, so we can't do it on our hands. It's wild.
And online is what you said.
Yeah, so no, we will consolidate a lot of those funds. But first thing we have to do is reconcile them. So, yeah, and it's extremely important to understand and know. Christie mentioned this earlier, but I want to mention it again. Many of these findings we will have again in this next audit because we're still going through that process. My very first audit as mayor will have some of the same findings as the previous audit, unfortunately. But we'll get there.
You're not gonna have 170 entries.
No, we won't have the same entries, no. Any other questions for Christie? Thank you all so much. Christie, thank you so much. He don't have an answer for you, question.
He has a question for somebody. He has a question.
Thank you, Christie. We appreciate you. Mr. Sam?
I want to make a correction on Kay Justin. Hazel Crowley, Thursday, November 9th, and not the 7th. Oh, okay, November
Katie.
9th.
Write that down,
I
Kate.
don't know.
It's December 9th.
November 9th.
November 9th. Okay. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. You got that, Steve? Anybody else, any other, for finance?
We have the additional discussion come from the committee. Discussion from the committee rest.
Thank you, sir. Just a reminder, one more time, next week's meeting will be Monday at 6. That notice will go out tomorrow evening, in plenty of time, but just an FYI. Thank you all for coming.
Still getting a seat? Good job, Sam.